Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video. This is a paid request for Marv B. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thought streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Devil's Den, which is a 2006 film that I had never heard of before. It was on Tubi, so for those who do want to watch it. And it's one of those films that it's not that great. I mean, you could even say it's not that good, but I didn't mind it. Although, if you're not critical of things, yeah, I thought it was, this is one of those films that's hard to talk about, and the fact of, I didn't hate the film, I had a decent enough time, but if you asked me about this film a month or so later, I'm not going to remember much about it. So I just see people being, if you had an inkling of intrigue, you may be disappointed. But for me, I didn't expect anything. I liked the cast, mainly the three main leads. There's some goofy campiness that I didn't mind. It's a pretty short film, hour and 20 some minutes. In particular, the first half, it goes by a pretty good pace. It kind of stalls a little after the halfway point, and you could tell they did not have much of a budget for this, and you do wish they had a bit more of a budget, a bit more bang for your buck. Just really what this is a cheaper rip-off of From Dusk Till Dawn. That's what I've been stumbling about for like 2 minutes. Now, when I said I liked the cast, you got Devon Sawa from Final Destination, the first one. He was in Idle Hands. I liked him as an actor. You have Kelly Hu, who I enjoy. She was in X-Men 2, was Lady Deathstrike. She was in The Tournament, underrated, fun action movie. She had a bit role in Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, whereas in that kind of, not ball, kind of like a ballroom on the ship, and Jason chokes the shit out of her. And Ken Foree is in this. Yeah, it's from the original Dawn of the Dead. He worked with this director in Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And it's always great to see Ken Foree. I love Ken Foree. I'm a big fan of him. So anytime I get to see him in a movie, it's always a pleasure. So that helped my enjoyment of this too. I wish they gave him more to do in the second half, but again, it felt like a very cheap film. Now, it's directed by Jeff Burr. May he rest in peace. He did The Stepfather 2. He did this film I didn't mind called Night of the Scarecrow from the 90s. He did Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which I just mentioned, which I thought was okay. Puppet Master 4 and 5. And that's kind of who he was as a director, where I didn't mind his films, but he was never a director that blew me away. He was never a director that went, whoa, like, style-wise, energy-wise. He was, if I'm being honest, you could say he was a bit of a pedestrian director, but at the same time, he made films that, at the very least, could be mildly enjoyable, at least to me. Like, I like Puppet Master 4 and 5 for what they are. I like Chainsaw Massacre 3 for what it is. Night of the Scarecrow, same thing. Stepfather 2, I don't remember much about. And this kind of falls into that. Now, when I say it's a ripoff from Dusk Till Dawn, you have two guys, they get to Mexico, there's a strip club in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of ladies getting their titties out, and then there's the main dancer. Instead of Thundergo Pandemonium, it's Jezebel, I think was her name. And then they go crazy. They're not vampires, because they mentioned more than once they're not vampires, they're ghouls. Now, they kind of look like the vampires in From Dusk Till Dawn. Like with the... Not all the way, but kind of, with the face and stuff, and got claws and sharp teeth, and they bite people on the neck. And so they seem like vampires, and Devon Sawa even thinks they're vampires, but then Ken Foree goes, they're not vampires, they're ghouls. So it's almost as if they had to put that in just to show you, no guys, seriously, we're not ripping off From Dusk Till Dawn. Which is a much better movie than this. But the plot is you have these two guys, Devon Sawa and his buddy, they're going to Mexico because they want to get Spanish fly pills to sell to college kids. One makes a bet with the other, all the Spanish fly is bullshit, oh, I'll prove it to you. They stop at the strip club that the outside kind of looks like just some regular joint you'd find. Like a little teeny sign and a facade that doesn't really look that impressive. Looks like shot in someone's neighborhood. And the inside is very basic dressing. I mean, there's a table here or there. There's some curtains and shit. So that's where you're like, yeah, this is pretty fucking low budget. Because it's mostly this set, maybe some back rooms, a tunnel, a little bit of the outside where there's rocks and shit. I mean, it's not... They had peanuts, it seems, to work with on this, which is a shame. Because, like, the actors, like I said, I didn't mind them. Devon Sawa, I think he had some fun banter with some of the characters. I like him as a lead. Although he does a sketchy thing where he slips a pill into the lead dancer's drink. I'm like, so it's a roofie, right? I mean, I guess it's not a roofie, it's to make them horny, but you're still slipping into someone's drink without them noticing. So, I don't know, like giving someone ecstasy or something. That's still a very scummy thing to do, so I'm like, are we supposed to like this fucking character? Pretty shitty thing for them to do. I guess that's up to you. But her and Devon Sawa, they kind of have eyes for each other. She leads Devon Sawa out. She tries to bite him. Kelly Hu comes in. She got these two guns. You find out why she has guns. She keeps shooting this thing. It won't die. They both run back to the club. And then hell breaks loose. And it's mostly these ghouls kind of biting people on the neck. You don't see a lot of crazy gore. Ken Foree comes out, he's got a shotgun, then he's got a sword. And like the director tries. Ken Foree shoots one and you have a stunt woman fly back. Ken Foree chops a head off and you see the head fall off practically and blood spurt out. Devon Sawa's buddy gets his heart ripped out. So, I mean, there's much worse films and much worse stuff to see, if that makes sense. For some reason, these ghouls like to howl like wolves. I don't know why. I mean, what, are they part werewolf or something? And then all that's left is Ken Foree, who you find out is part of this group that tries to find monsters and kill them. Well, I guess this is again a spoiler, so look up the trailer. I'll say this. If you liked any of those three actors I mentioned, Devon Sawa, Kelly Hu, or Ken Foree, it's pretty straightforward film. Maybe a little bit too straightforward. It's only 80-some minutes long. There's no downbeat, sequel bait ending, at least not really. The banter's kind of fun between the characters. There's some fun moments between Devon Sawa and Ken Foree. Like there's a bit where Devon lights Ken's sword. And Ken Foree's, oh, you're into swords? And Devon's like, oh yeah, I'm into Zatoichi. And then they both kind of think about what Zatoichi, the blind swordsman, would do in this situation. And then the film shows like a fantasy scene, a black and white of Zatoichi, the blind swordsman, dealing with the ghouls. Like that was kind of fun. And some of the banter, some of the dialogue. Ken Foree, when he sees Kelly Hu, he sizing her up. Okay. Goes back, sits in the seat, and he's like, human. Bitchy, but definitely human. I thought it was pretty funny for Ken Foree. Again, I'm a massive Ken Foree fan, so that was nice to see. Because I'd never heard of this film before, like I said. There's a fun, goofy fight between Kelly Hu and the main vampire at the end. That's very 2000s era, I'll put it that way, with the music and them going back and forth. I don't know, for some reason, remind me of something I would see, like exit wounds, cradle to the grave, like that type of thing. Maybe not that grandiose as those films, because even those films have more budget than this, but for some reason, remind me a little bit of that. If none of that sounds interesting, if the trailer doesn't seem interesting to you, then I don't know what to tell you. It probably wouldn't be for you. Again, this is not a film I would ever watch again. It's not a film I would buy. But it was, again, for Tubi, it's free if you want to watch it there. It was a paid request, and I didn't mind it for what it was. I thought, it's okay. Compared to the shit I usually see, it was okay. But a lot could have made this better. In particular, like I said, a bigger budget. But spoilers. So after the little shindig fight scene where Kelly Hu keeps shooting, she has like unlimited ammo, it seems. Even though she, like, her guns, I'm like, how many fucking bullets are in these guns? But yeah, that happens in a lot of movies. They make a retreat. Ken Foree kills some, and there's those three, and then this girl, a waitress, that says it's her first day. So it's only the four of them. And pretty much they discuss, what is it, vampires? No, it's not vampires, it's ghouls. Now, I think Kelly Hu says a weird line. Vampires don't eat people. I'm like, what? Yes, they do. Of course vampires eat people. At least the fucking vampire films I've seen, they eat people. I mean, you can say they suck their blood, but I mean, the vampires in Waxwork ate people. From dusk till dawn, they were eating the shit out of them. Eating people. But okay. And yeah, some of the banter, like Devon Sawa going great at the recruiting center for the undead. And then Tim Foree's like, well, maybe you should have stuck the masturbation instead of coming in here. And Devon's like, well, it was getting old. I was already doing that. It was getting old. And again, them imagining Zatoichi. So there's some stuff there that's kind of fun. I didn't mind the banter between either Ken Foree or Devon Sawa, or Devon Sawa and Kelly Hu. Pretty much I paused because I wanted to make sure I got this right, so sorry if that was awkward. Everything I discussed and a bit of build-up, that takes about half of the film. They go in these tunnels. Devon Sawa's like, what the hell? We should just get the hell out of here. Ken Foree says, listen, I've done stuff like this before. We got killed the queen. If we kill the queen, then we end everything. Like, all the others will go down. The only way to kill them is starvation, which is, in other words, decapitate them. Devon Sawa's ready to leave, but then his moral code comes back to bite him on the ass, and he comes back to help out. When they go into the tunnels and they're trying to find the queen, and then something happens, and the ghouls come up and try to attack them, and our leads get the hell out of there and split up. It's Ken Foree and the waitress, Kelly Hu and Devon Sawa. They inadvertently split up. That's when the film kind of slowed down for me. Because, again, I said spoilers. Ken Foree and the waitress, they pretty much just go in this room and they hide. And I could see this coming. I'm like, something's up with this waitress. Because we have these other three known, at least to me, known actors. And then this kind of newbie. And, oh, it's the queen, but we don't know who the queen is. I'm like, okay, if you're saying you don't know who the queen is, that means you're going to try for some twist. The waitress, her first day on the job, that's the twist. Like, you just see it coming from a mile away. There was no surprise on that. I'm like, I even said, let me guess, she's the queen. Because they don't know who the queen is, and again, movies like this, they want to think they're clever, and then lo and behold, she is. Ken Foree and her fight off screen. Our other two find Ken Foree. He's injured. I think he pretty much does nothing for the rest of the film. He doesn't die in the movie, which I appreciate, but he really does nothing for the rest of the film, which is disappointing. Because he got the sword, and he's a guy who knows, I mean, let's say it's going to be like Day Shift with Jamie Foxx, which was a fun movie. But they have him like with a shotgun, reloads, and like blowing heads up of vampires or something, man. Vampires. Ghouls, sorry. So while that's all happened, Kelly Hu and Devon Sawa, they get outside. Kelly Hu fights a ghoul with the butt of her guns, beats the shit out of it. Beats the shit out of it more with a stick until it gets decapitated. And then exposition. Kelly Hu is an assassin. Why is an assassin here? She's looking for Devon Sawa. Why? She's been hired to kill him. Why? Even Devon's like, why? Well, you must have done something, must have said something. No. Come to find out, Devon Sawa slept with this senator's wife. He didn't know it was a wife until after the deed was done, and he looked over and saw the picture and the wedding ring and stuff. So then Kelly Hu goes, what? He wanted me to kill you for a personal vendetta? And she's like, well, how many other times have I been lied to? Or have I been misled to murder someone? And yeah, I thought Kelly Hu, I liked her. I liked her look. She's a good looking lady. I liked her presence. I don't mind her as an actress. And, you know, some stuff between her and Devon Sawa I didn't mind. Some of these little things that will help get me through a movie. I don't know how to put it. And there's even an ode, I would have to say this is like an ode to Idle Hands, where the head still tries to bite Devon Sawa's hand. I guess something about that reminded me of Idle Hands or something, and then he kicks the head. Also, for some reason, his character has a fear of squirrels. That's like a running joke. That was kind of funny. Just because it was quirky. They go back in. They find Ken Foree hurt. Kelly Hu is going to go get the queen. Devon Sawa talks to Ken Foree. Ken Foree's like, hey, that girl likes you. You should go with her. I'm not going to leave you. Hey, go ahead. Kelly Hu has been changed. Devon Sawa is able to change her back by relaying about her humanity and, hey, you didn't try to kill me before, you're not going to do it now, you're a good person. And then Devon Sawa was like, I'm going to get the popcorn because there's going to be some serious ass kicking. You know, what you need to do is you need to kick her ass. So yeah, I think Devon Sawa, I get it. he's pretty much playing a punk wannabe drug dealer. He's not an assassin. He's not a warrior, so he's not going to be in much of the fights. But the fact he really doesn't get into any duel fights. He doesn't really kill any of the creatures. I thought that was a bit disappointing. I mean, I guess you could say he still helped Kelly Hu to help change her back, but the fact again, he in the big action scene earlier, he's hitting some of them with a stick, but he doesn't do a whole lot. Pretty much Kelly Hu has the fight with the Queen. The very 2000s. I don't know, just something about the way it's shot and the sound effects. Devon Sawa was like cheering Kelly Hu on. Eventually, Devon brought the sword. Kelly Hu gets the sword, decapitates the Queen. Everything's fine. And then you have this fun bit that's months later. Looks like Kelly Hu and Devon Sawa has joined Ken Foree on his monster hunting team thing. And there's a new nest of something in there, and they bring a rocket launcher. And they have some banter, and they shoot the rocket launcher, then it cuts, and the movie's over. Again, it's action-wise, you don't have a lot of action. You have the big shindig battle, which, I mean, very... could be considered mediocre for its budget compared to a lot of films out there. Feast, Dog Soldiers. There's a lot of movies that kicks this movie's ass in terms of action and horror. It does. So I just say that if you like these three actors, it could be viewed as disappointing. It is like a 4.79 to be. I can't argue that. I can't. There's a lot of films I would say is better than this. You know, Watchers 2, you know, plenty of, I mentioned Dog Soldiers, Feast, Waxwork 2, Fright Night Part 2 from the 80s. Only if you're a diehard fan of Devon Sawa, Kelly Hu, Ken Foree like me, it may be worth one watch for some of the actors and some of the little banter they had. But either rest in peace to Jeff Burr, but I kind of wish he had someone else directing this with a bit of more fire, energy. Maybe do stuff with the camera angles, camera work. Really try to go buck wild with the gore, the action, and try to get a lot out of a little. I had a little bit of fun with the fight scene at the end between Kelly Hu and the Queen. And it is a short film. I do think it's slowed down from the halfway onward. You know, chalk this up to, it's not much to run home about. It's not much to really talk about, but I don't know. For some reason, I didn't hate the film, but it's not a film I'd ever watch again. I guess I expected like much worse. But I think that's what it is. It's just the characters. I like the characters. The three characters. Better director and a bit more budget, action, you know, gore. I think it could have really helped the film. I mean, you look at Feast, you look at Dog Soldiers. If this movie was done like those films were, and those were not multi-million-dollar productions, I think this could have been a lot better. And like I said, it just would make you think of From Dusk Till Dawn. And From Dusk, honestly, I'd probably say I like From Dusk Till Dawn 2 more than this. I know a lot of people don't like From Dusk Till Dawn 2. Rest in peace to Scott Speedle. But I would say, like, the way that film was directed in terms of the weird point of views and some of the action he was able to get in there for the low budget, and the camera tricks, other than some really iffy CG, that's a film I do like. So, yeah, if maybe Scott Speedle directed this, that would have been cool. But, no disrespect to Jeff Burr, but I wouldn't, I mean, like I said, I don't He makes films that are, but nothing that's, whoa. But I'm repeating myself. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.